Hi, that's me, Kendall. In the summer of 2024, I moved into a tiny house on an abandoned farm. This is my journey as an artist, finding my way in the world. Welcome to the Art of Living, Part 2. The dust has begun to settle from these last few months of moving and rehoming. In this chapter, I'm leaning into stability, commitment, peace, and contentment.
Good old damn blurb.
A lot of change is happening. Having my own space for the first time and being in a lease for the first time in years, living in a more rural area, and moving onto the same property as my partner. I'm now 26 and I'm shifting gears. Honestly, all of this has the free spirit version inside of me kicking and screaming. But I know it's time to plant and water seeds and pursue my art career from a more grounded and stable place. When I moved into the tiny house, I had this feeling that I was stepping into a new era. It felt like my time to get a little more focused and also reconnect with nature and a sense of cyclical living and cyclical business practices. At this point, I'd been pursuing a career as an artist for a few years, but I'd kind of been struggling to see progress or make ends meet or properly grow a business. It felt like nothing was sticking and something needed to change.
The blueberries are pretty much done for the season. Blueberry fields over here. And so the muscadines are popping now.
I guess this was my moment of entering my late 20s and realizing it was time to ground down and integrate and reprioritize. Right before this, I had just completed my biggest mural project I'd done at that time, but when it was said and done, I felt like I was back at square one with no other projects lined up. This was the pattern and what I needed to change. When I decided to pursue being a full-time artist, one of the lessons I knew I was signing up for was an unshakable faith and trust that if I'm following my highest calling, the universe will provide. But I think it's really important to recognize when you've learned a lesson and completed a cycle and it's time to move on. There comes a point for many artists when we realize we deserve stability and abundance. And that requires a big internal shift. There was a lot I knew I needed to learn, and I also felt burnt out and disconnected from my creative process from being in and out of survival mode so much. I really hoped that moving here would give me the space for reconnection and integration. I figured I would become re-inspired by romanticizing life more. With all the noise and distraction of the internet and the chaos of the world at large, I wanted to feel inspired by art forms steeped in tradition, the old masters, and tangible collections of art. So I got some picture books on art styles that felt inspiring to me, like Art Nouveau. Something I really love about this type of art is the whimsical nature of it and how it's largely inspired by nature and the beauty of organic natural element Art Nouveau, surprise, surprise, translates to new art, and it was like this movement to integrate the beauty of organic form and whimsical nature into functionality. So it really is the epitome of like romanticizing life and making things feel more whimsical and magical, which is why I love it. I could go on and on, but I also got this book called The World of Ornament, and it's all about patterns and textures and textiles, and I have barely scratched the surface of this book, but it is so fascinating to me, and with all of the photos or the historical origins of these patterns and meanings behind them, where they come from. And then this book is all about witchy women in art, visionary art, and archetypal storytelling, and this also spans into other forms of media as well. I loved reading about this painting and the nuance and symbolism that went into it. The first summer in this new chapter of life felt like liminal space, sitting with the discomfort of the unknown, yet surrounded by the sweetness of the season and newness. This painting was inspired by light and shadow, exploration of shape and color, plants and the aliveness of summer and feminine energy. Just kind of exploring something more abstract to break out of the funk. Even though I made a choice to root down in a new home, I still felt extremely ungrounded, like I couldn't sit still without wondering if I was in the right place or doing the right thing. And if I've learned anything since then, it's that you can't rush the process of growing roots. I was trying to regain my focus and creativity by researching morning routines and productivity catered towards neurodivergent people. I even listened to the 5 a.m. club, and that level of rigidity is not for me. One thing I realized is how productivity culture is pretty much all based around the 24-hour biological cycle of men in comparison to the 30-day moon cycle of women. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in short, women's hormones and energy levels fluctuate over the course of a whole month, mimicking the moon, whereas men's hormones rise and fall on a daily cycle, mimicking the sun. Meaning, a woman's optimal productivity is not achieved by doing the same thing every day. I remember watching one video from this guy who formulated the best scientifically backed morning routine for energy and focus. It included immediately doing intense exercise as soon as you wake up, cold shower, then he eats a handful of raw vegetables so that the food doesn't slow down his system. And I'm just like, wow, that is so not nourishing or supportive for a woman's body. Like, please. I'll keep my slow mornings and warm foods. It all just perpetuates the core issue of always needing to do more that plagues our society. And my mission wasn't necessarily to do more, but to feel better and then do things from a place of feeling good and feeling inspired. I started listening to this book called Radical Acceptance by Tara Burke, and it felt more helpful than any of the self-improvement rhetoric because it helped me begin to realize how hard I am on myself. And from that place, I'm able to romanticize life and the moment and tap into creative flow. And for me, that's the most potent self-help medicine there is. As summer transitioned to fall, I had a couple travel opportunities come up. At this time, I was still putting more focus into healing arts like bodywork and teaching yoga, and I went to a festival in Oregon called Conscious Growth Convergence to do Thai bodywork and teach a yoga class. I think I made just enough money to make the trip work, and y'all, I'm the type of person who will fly across the country with a backpack for the right opportunities. I absolutely love Oregon, and taking that trip was very revitalizing to my soul. And even when rooting down, travel is still such a big part of my life because it's a huge source of inspiration. And part of my maturing process has been traveling when it's going to leave me more resourced or leveled up in my career. And I had never done bodywork at a festival, and it was a really great experience that I learned a lot. After this trip to Oregon, I got an opportunity to paint and show my work at a festival in Florida called Halloween. It was last minute and I had no idea what I was going to paint. And my trip to Oregon actually gave me the inspiration to make the painting that I did that I was really proud of. I think Halloween brings in like 30 or 40,000 people. This was my first time at a big festival, and festivals have become my favorite way to connect with other artists, connect with like-minded souls and people who resonate with my artwork, and really get myself out there in the most fun and expansive way. So this weekend was really affirming for me as an artist. This event also pushed me to finish a bunch of my paintings and create prints of my artwork. And to be completely transparent, I actually didn't come anywhere near breaking even on what I spent on the prints, which was disappointing, but you know, you live and you learn, and I feel like it was worth it for the experience. Also, huge shout out to my partner who helped me get all of my stuff together for this event and helped me set up while we were there and just like helped me the entire weekend. I definitely would not be where I am without his love and support. After Halloween, I redid my website, got all the prints up, was trying to give myself more visibility and accessibility, and I still have the same edits and shop up on my website, so I'm really happy with taking the time to do that. I was starting to do more outreach for my business and seeking out new knowledge and guidance, and overall just feeling a lot more stable and regulated in my life.